Most Minecraft farms look pretty boring, and I'm sick of filling up my world with tons of these ugly farms. So in an effort to change that, I'm gonna be building loads of farms for every single color in Minecraft, each with their own unique theme, and all of them giving me tons of useful items. But all 16 colors of farms are gonna go on this grid right here. This is gonna be insane. Let's fill in each of these squares now so we'll know which color goes where. Starting with the red square. After red, we'll do orange, followed by yellow, lime, green, cyan, light blue, blue, purple, magenta, pink, white, light gray, gray, black, and brown. And now that we have our grid in place, it's time that we start building these farms. And the first color we're doing today is the lime farms. Okay, this is gonna be interesting. I think we should start with the most obvious lime colored things, and that's gonna be lime wool and lime dye. 5 lime sheep will turn into a sheep farm. And also, on top of building farms for every single color, these farms are also going to be themed on the color that they're farming. So that's why our lime wool farm is lime colored. We're trying to keep everything on a consistent theme here. But with the wool farm done, it's time for the dye farm. And this farm should be pretty straightforward. Since if you see here, if I bone meal these sea pickles, then it turns into more sea pickles. And I can then take these sea pickles, throw them into a furnace, out comes lime dye. To be completely honest, I did not even know you could do that before making this video. But it makes getting lime dye a whole lot simpler. So we're gonna take that same principle and we're gonna put it into a farm. Here's all the materials, so let's get to building. First is our collection system, powered rails, and hopper minecarts. Around all of it will go some concrete. Then on top we'll do a little something like this. And I forgot the most important part of this entire farm, which is coral. Since the only place that you can plant sea pickles, wait, what? You can plant them on sand? Since the only block that sea pickles can be bone mealed on is coral. You see, it does nothing right here, but on the coral, I can make it grow and spread. So let's grab a whole bunch more of this stuff real quick, and we'll add it to our farm. The farm is done. It's all filled with bone meal. Let's see if it works. It seems to be working, yeah. And it's already smelting and producing us some lime dye. But there we have it. The 2 easiest lime farms are out of the way. But we didn't build this massive grid just to make the easiest farms. So it's time that we start farming some more lime items. And as I was building those 2 farms, I realized that sugarcane is lime colored. This is probably the most lime looking thing in the entire game. I mean, look at this. This is so lime colored. This is going to be another pretty simple farm to build. So once I change my shirt, the farm will be done. Boom. New shirt and a new sugarcane farm. The lime farms are coming together pretty well. But let's see here. What else is lime colored? I need to look around for some inspiration. Oh, wait a minute. Seeds are lime colored. Let's make a mini auto crop farm to farm some seeds, which is basically going to be 4 dispensers and a piece of dirt. And this is how it works. It is insanely fast. But you might also notice that we're getting wheat from this farm. And obviously wheat is not lime colored, but I have a pretty good idea on how we can use this to get another lime item. And that's going to be to head over here to a farmer villager and sell it for some emeralds. Since if you notice, emeralds are super lime colored. So I think what we'll do is abduct this guy. And here's our friend. Let's see here. He buys wheat, and in return, we get emeralds. Nice. That's 2 more lime items crossed off the list. You know what? Melons are actually pretty lime colored. So naturally, next up, let's build a melon farm. There we have it, our completed melon farm. This farm is very, very lime colored. But those are all the lime farms that I can think of right now, so it's time to move on to the next set of farms. And that's gonna be the purple farms. But before we get to the purple farms, there's a red item that I also want to farm, and that's a subscribe button. Since I'm trying to reach 1 million subscribers by the end of the year, and if you've been enjoying this video so far, you should subscribe to help me reach my goal. But anyways, let's do the same thing that we did for the lime farms and start with the wool and dye farms first. So we'll take 5 purple sheep and turn it into a sheep farm. Nice. Let's see. And it's working. 22 already. Oh my god. These farms are like really fast. Okay, now for the dye farm. This one's gonna be a little bit more complicated since unlike the lime dye, we can't get purple dye from just one source. So we're gonna have to farm both red dye and blue dye and combine it to get purple dye. Luckily, both of these farms are gonna be extremely easy. For the red dye farm, it's just gonna be a dispenser bone mealing a rose bush. And then for the blue dye farm, it's gonna be even easier. It's just gonna be a cleric villager that's gonna sell me lapis, and I'll turn that into blue dye. Now, basically what the plan is I'm gonna grab 2 crafters like this. These are gonna go into their separate chests, and then in turn, they're gonna route into a crafter that's gonna be in the center right here, with the hopper going into each side, and that will output into a chest right here. It's also my own design too, which is why it looks so ugly, but I thought I would try to have some fun and design a few of my own farms in this video. Okay, our monstrosity is complete. This thing is so ugly. Let's see how this works. And it's making blue dye. Okay. And, oh, they're both going into here. And that should be making us purple dye. Yeah, look at that. Nice. That's amazing. Let me show you guys the back too real quick. I covered all of it in glass so you can see my horrible redstone. This is all the stuff back here. Let's just close this up and let's never look at it ever again. But that's our purple dye farm and our purple wool farm done. And to be honest, I don't really know of any other purple things that we can farm. Oh, wait a minute. We can do all the purple stuff. This stuff is technically purple, right? So I think we should make a chorus fruit farm, since from this we'll be able to craft up all these purple blocks. And here's the chorus fruit farm. Whoa, look at that. Perfect. And with all the chorus fruit that we get from this farm, we'll be able to craft up a whole bunch of other purple blocks. But aside from that, I can't really think of anything else that's purple. This might end up being one of the most disappointing squares. But with the purple farms all complete, it's time to do the white farms. This one should be a whole lot more interesting than the purple farms, since I can already think of tons of white farmable things in Minecraft. But just like the other 2 farms, we're gonna start with the dye and the wool farms. And there we have it, our white wool farm. Now for our white dye farm, and this is going to be a little bit different than the other 2 dye farms that we've done, because this is going to be a dye farm. Obviously. It's going to be a combo farm is what I meant. Now real quick, if I come over to my iron farms, you'll notice that iron, well, it's practically white. And then over here, I'm also getting bone meal from this. And it just so happens that bone meal is also the precursor for white dye. So basically what I'm trying to say is we're going to build an iron farm. After struggling for quite a bit to get these villagers and this zombie up here, the iron farm is working. Nice. Let's see though, is my contraption working the way that it should? Let's analyze the flow of this stuff. Okay, it's working, yeah. Look at that. Nice. So now it's time to farm some more white items. Already one thing coming to mind is milk. Milk is white and also very easy to farm, so let's farm that next. Basically, to make a milk farm, I only need 2 things. Some cows and some buckets. Nice, another very easy farm all done. And speaking of easy farms, there's just one more that I can think of for the white farms. And that's a sugarcane farm. Except instead of getting sugarcane out of it, we're gonna auto-craft it into sugar. And sugar is white. There we go. Another very easy farm crossed off the list. Now, although the white farms have been pretty easy so far, things are about to get a whole lot more complicated, since the next farm we're going to build is a tree farm for birchwood. Because after all, birchwood is the whitest wood. Like with basically every single farm we've done today, we're going to start with the collection system. And that's basically going to consist of a water pit and all of the hoppers imaginable. But now it's time for the guts of the farm. And that's going to consist of a storage system down here. And that's going to look like this. After the storage system, we'll build some leaf crushers. This is going to be to get rid of all the leaves and replenish our saplings. And then last but not least, a TNT duper up on top. All right, let's test this thing out now. Ooh, that hurt. First, we're gonna need to load it up with some bone meal. And wait a minute, this stuff is also white. This is gonna be our next farm. Let's see how she goes. It's working. Very well, actually, too. That test is complete, but we still have 1 farm left to do for the white farms, and that's the bone meal farm. It's gonna go right here in this giant space. I think it's time we start building. Okay, wow. This thing is a beast. It looks even crazier from up top, too. But the most important thing... Oh my god, I almost just died right there. Anyways, the most important thing is if it works. And... it seems like it is. Look at this. This farm is crazy complicated. Wow. The person who designed this farm is definitely a lot smarter than me. Let's see. Is it already producing bone meal? Oh, wow. Okay, it is. Nice. This farm is going to be insanely useful. So many of our farms require bone meal. But that's going to do it for the white farms. Up next, it's time to do the cyan farms. I feel like this one might be a little difficult. But like we've been doing for all the other colors, let's start with a wool farm and a dye farm, and then we'll go from there. All right, here's our wool farm. Same design as usual, except with different colors. So now it's time to do the cyan dye farm. And this farm is actually going to be a little interesting since you can only get cyan dye from pitcher plants. And pitcher plants can only be dug up by sniffers. So essentially for our cyan dye farm, we're going to have to make a sniffer farm. But we do have a small problem, and it's that I've never found sniffers in this world before. So first we have to do that. First we'll grab ourselves a brush, restock on some firework rockets, and go on the hunt for some sniffer eggs. We're going to need at least 2 of these. All right, I think this should be the right spot that we're looking for, right? Yes, there's sus sand. Here we go. What? First try? Okay, that's insane. Oh my god. Well, that was extremely easy. But we still have to find a second one of these, so let's do a little bit more searching. There we go. Here's the second one. Okay, finally. I guess that didn't take too long. But now that we have our 2 sniffer eggs, it's time to build this sniffer farm. But wait a minute. I'm actually getting ahead of myself here. We still have to get all the materials to build this farm. And after lots of material gathering, here is everything that we'll need. But as I was gathering all that stuff, I had an idea. You see, in order to make cyan dye, we're gonna have to make a sniffer farm to get pitcher plants. But sniffers can dig up 2 items, with the other one being torchflower seeds. And just like how pitcher plants can make cyan dye, torchflower plants can make orange dye. And it just so happens that orange is right next to cyan on this grid. That was not even planned. That's just how it worked out. So basically what I was thinking is we'll extend this sniffer farm over into the orange square, since that way we can have one farm that gets us the dyes for 2 different colors. That was a whole lot of explaining, and I feel like it was kind of confusing. So let's just start building so you guys can see what I'm talking about. Here's how it's looking so far. I'm placing down some color coordinated fences around all of this now. I'm doing acacia fences for the orange side, warped fences for the cyan side, and then black stone walls down the center for the black strip. Look at that. That's looking pretty good. And this is basically the entire farm. If we look from up here, it blends in almost perfectly with the grid. But we still have just one more thing to do, and that's going to be the sorting system over here. I'm just going to do a little bit of redstone magic, and I'll be back once I have this done. All right, and here's our storage system. Now that's everything that we had to do building wise. So now the only thing left to do for this farm is to hatch the sniffers. There we go. Now we wait. Actually, we could probably be a bit more productive as we wait for that, since after all, this farm only produces us seeds, and we still have to grow those seeds to be able to get the dye. Here's the pitcher plant farm and the torchflower farm. And those are 2 of the farms done for the cyan color. Now you might notice that I use warped wood for the accents on the sniffer farm. And well, that's because warped wood is super cyan colored. More so than even cyan concrete, I think. So naturally, next up, we're gonna build a warped wood farm. That's what all of these other ingredients are for. Like always, we'll start with the collection system. And now it's time for the rest of the farm on top of all this. I'm gonna cry. I was testing out this TNT duper and it just sent a whole bunch of TNT and blew up my sheep farm. Oh my god. And this is the second time that I blew it up too. I am not the best farm builder. Oh my gosh, did it destroy this stuff down here too? Bruh. Okay, this is gonna take quite a while to clean up. I'll be back once everything is all fixed. Okay, everything is all rebuilt. I got 4 new sheep to fix our sheep farm, and our warped wood farm is also all done. But that's gonna be it for the cyan farms. There really are not too many cyan things that we can farm. And since we've already expanded our sniffer farm over into the orange color, let's just do all the orange farms next. We already have our orange dye farm, so obviously next up is going to be our orange wool farm. And here it is. It looks like every other wool farm that we made, except it's orange. And now for our next orange farm, let's make an acacia wood farm. This might be our most complicated farm yet. So we're going to have to be very careful when building it to avoid breaking it and causing a disaster like we did with this farm. That was intense. Let's go get some acacia saplings and see if it works. Saplings, please. Okay, I already see tons of them. Nice. Okay, 21 saplings. That should be enough to test this thing out. But on top of that, we're also gonna need to get some bone meal. And our bone meal farm is definitely not disappointing. But now I think what I have to do is hold the sapling in my offhand and bone meal in my main hand. And then we flick both of these levers. Please don't explode. Okay, whoa, that is really cool. Now we just stand right here, and I think we just go like this. Oh yeah, it's working. Wow, this is a very well-designed farm. Okay, it's safe to say this thing is definitely working. Let's turn it off now. There we go, it turned off. Okay, oh, this farm is so cool. And that's one more of our orange farms all done. For our next orange farm, I think we should make a honey farm, since after all, honey and honeycomb are very orange. So let's build up a quick bee farm right over here. First, I'll start with some flowering azaleas. Then we have to make our hopper line. On top of that, we'll go some beehives. Okay, that was not what I was expecting. We have to wait until nighttime to do this. Can you go back in, please? Okay, yeah, we're gonna have to wait until night. Okay, it's nighttime. Go back inside. He's a little stuck. There we go. Are they all back in there? I guess we're about to find out. Let's just place the rest of these down now, though. There we have it. And then we'll quickly surround everything with glass so these guys can't escape. Okay, there we go. Now we just have to put some dispensers facing down up here. And then all the redstone stuff behind it that's going to power the harvesting. That guy was freaking side strafing. He was like peeking behind the wall like boom. Okay, here is our bee farm. All we have left to do is to load it up with shears and bottles. Here's the shears, and here's the bottles. And just like that, another orange farm all done. Next up, let's do a glowberry farm. It doesn't really get any more orange than this. Now, this farm's gonna be my own design, so we already know it's gonna turn out horribly. And wait a minute, we're quickly running out of space in this square. This is definitely the most crowded square we've done so far. So to make space for any more orange farms that we're gonna build, this glowberry farm is gonna have to be pretty compact. Let's see if I can build it like right over here. So obviously we're gonna have a hopper and a chest to collect the items, and then around it we'll put some glass like this, and we'll build it up about 10 blocks. Okay, so here's the top, and I was thinking right up here we can place down a moss block, and then a glowberry right here. Now the only question is how we're gonna harvest this. I think I'd like it to grow this entire length, and then get cut off like right here once it's fully grown. So I think what we can do is place an observer observing this block right here, and then we probably can just do an observer chain going all the way up like this. And then in the front here, we're gonna do a piston, and I think that should be it. Once it extends to right here, it works. Okay, nice. That's exactly what I wanted. It's probably going to be extremely slow since it's just one glowberry plant, but in reality, we don't really need that many glowberries. And if we do, then I can always just use bone meal to get even more. But with the glowberries done, it's time to farm yet another orange item. And it's been off in the distance this entire time. Next up, we're going to make a pumpkin farm. And I think this open area under our tree farm would be a pretty good spot to build this thing, since after all, we're trying to use this space as efficiently as possible. And there we go. That should be the pumpkin farm all completed. This one is also a design I came up with myself. Probably one of my best thought out ones so far, I'd say. But although pumpkins are very orange, there's also another item that's probably even more orange, and that's lava. So obviously next up, we're gonna build a lava farm. We are cramming so many farms into this orange square. There really are a lot of orange items in Minecraft. But like usual, this is also gonna be a very simple farm. It's just gonna be 4 cauldrons right here. On top of those cauldrons, we'll place some dripstone blocks, pointed dripstone down below, and with some lava on top to power the farm. Now to just enclose this so I don't accidentally fall in here, and here's our lava farm. Oh look, our first piece of lava. Nice. All right, let's try to find the next orange thing that we can farm. There's a pretty good sized space here for one more farm, so we just have to find the item that we're gonna farm. Let's see here, I'm in the storage system for some inspiration. Oh, and wait, how did I not think of this? Carrots are very orange. Let's build a carrot farm. It's gonna be the same thing as this wheat farm, but instead of lime colored, it'll be orange. Let's test it out. Okay, it is definitely working. Very, very fast as well. That was like 10 seconds, and oh my god. Over 4 stacks in like 10 seconds? That is ridiculous. This farm is insane. And I guess we'll put a little chest right here to store all of our carrots. Nice. But I think that's about all the farms this square can fit. And I guess it also works out good because I have no idea what other orange items we can farm. So let's move on to the next set of farms. And that's gonna be the brown farms. There's quite a lot of brown items in Minecraft, so it shouldn't be too hard to find farms to build. But like always, we're gonna start with the dye farm and the wool farm. Here's the wool farm. Now it's time to make the dye farm. The only way to get brown dye in Minecraft is with cocoa beans, so obviously that calls for a cocoa bean farm. It's just gonna be a pair of observers to detect when the cocoa beans are growing, dispensers to grow those cocoa beans, followed by some pistons to harvest them, and then some hoppers down the center to collect all of it. And then lastly, to power the whole thing, we have some hoppers and a chest filled with bone meal. Okay, let's see if it works. I think all I have to do is go like this. Oh yeah, it's definitely working. Ooh, this farm's kind of fun to use. But with our 2 base farms out of the way, it's time to farm some other brown items now. And the first thing that comes to mind literally has brown in the name. It's brown mushrooms. To build this farm, we're gonna use the mushroom spreading mechanic, which to be honest, I didn't even know existed before this video. But let's start building this farm now, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Along the outside, we have a bunch of brown mushrooms. And basically, this placement of mushrooms maximizes the chances of them spreading to these inner platforms. There's gonna be water behind this trap door, and this hopper clock I built over here will periodically open the trap door, and that harvests the mushrooms, sends them down here, and then into our chest. But this is only one platform done, and we're gonna build platforms all the way up to this roof right here. So let's keep building all this up. Oh yeah, look, it just worked. There you go. There's a demonstration for you. Okay, it's all done and it's working. Nice. So far, this farm has produced a single brown mushroom in about 2 minutes. Clearly, it's insanely fast. But I think our next brown farm is going to be quite a bit faster than this one. Here's what I'm thinking. Spruce wood, jungle wood, oak wood, and dark oak wood are basically all different shades of brown. So for our next farm, we're going to make a multi-tree farm that can farm all of these different wood types. It's essentially just going to be an upgraded and beefier version of this tree farm. So let's just get straight to it. Any guesses on what we're building first? Yep, it's the collection system. And not only did I build the collection system, but the entire rest of the farm. I was very locked in on this one. But most importantly, let's see if it works. Please don't blow up. Okay, the TNT is falling. Nice. Oh, what? Why is it blowing this up? What? Hold on. I think I might have to use smooth stone for this, since smooth stone is more blast resistant than concrete. Let's see if that fixes it. Okay, and okay. Okay, it seems like it does. Yeah, it's not blowing up. Okay, I think that's our solution. You know what? This is actually the same thing that I encountered with this farm. I tried to put white concrete around the edges right here, but the TNT was just blowing it up. So instead I had to use smooth quartz. But unfortunately, I can't really think of any brown block that's more durable than smooth stone. Wait a minute. There actually is one that comes to mind, and that's ancient debris. Ancient debris is brown, and I'm pretty sure it's as durable as obsidian. Let's see here. We have 6 ancient debris in this chest. That might actually be enough. Let's go test it out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. We're just 3 short. And I think I should probably also replace this up here too. So let's go on a quick side quest and mine for some more ancient debris. And you know what? Come to think of it, my armor is also only diamond. So it would be kind of dumb for me to get all this ancient debris for a farm and not also get some for my armor. So while we're at it, let's also upgrade my armor to netherite as well. Okay, that's enough time wasted with all of our armor and tools. Let's go finish building this tree farm. Let's replace all these smooth stone blocks with ancient debris. There we have it. Our tree farm is complete. Let's give it a proper test now. First, we'll try a spruce sapling. Okay, that works. Next, let's try a jungle sapling. That also works. Let's do oak next. Okay, and now for dark oak. Oh, wait, you can't grow dark oak like that. Hold on. Since to grow dark oak, you have to grow it with 4 saplings next to each other like this. So unfortunately, I think I'm gonna have to build a separate dark oak farm. And I don't really feel like building another fancy tree farm, so it's just gonna be 4 pieces of dirt right here in the center. Here's our farm. Let's see if it works. Okay, it does. Nice. But there we have it. Those are 2 more brown item farms all done. The next brown item that comes to mind is dripstone. Has it produced anything? It hasn't. Okay. This farm is going to be insanely slow, I feel like. But that's going to do it for the brown farms. Up next, it's time to do the green farms. This is probably going to be the hardest set of farms yet. There are so many green items in Minecraft. Oh my goodness. But like we've been doing for all the other colors, let's start with the wool and dye farms first. The wool farm is going to be our normal wool farm. And for the dye farm, we're going to do a cactus farm. Since if you smelt up cactus, it turns into green dye. And just like that, we have the wool farm and the cactus dye farm. And with the cactus farm, I split it into 2 different sections. This very bottom layer is going to collect the cactus item itself, since after all, cactus is also a green item. And then these top 4 layers are going to be routed by these hoppers into this furnace. And this is how we're going to get our green dye from this farm. But you might also notice another hopper line over on this side. And that's going to be for the fuel to power this furnace. And for that, we're going to build a bamboo farm, since bamboo is a great fuel source for this application, and it's also a green item. So let's get to work. Just like with the cactus farm, this very bottom layer is going to be for the bamboo item itself, and then all the layers above that are going to be only for fueling our green dye farm. And it looks like everything is working as intended. We got all of our cactus coming into here, and then all of our bamboo coming in as fuel. And we're also getting some bamboo down here as well. But with this done, it's time to farm another green item. And this is going to be another fairly straightforward farm. Since if you see over here, our bone meal farm is essentially just a moss farm. So essentially what I'm going to do for this next farm is copy this exact same design, except I'll just get rid of these composters right here so we can collect the moss instead of having it get turned into bone meal. Okay, that's one more green farm all done. It's time we build some more. After all, we still have quite a bit of space left on this square. For our next green farm, let's do a kelp farm. This is also going to be an extremely easy to build farm, and it's basically going to be exactly like this bamboo farm, except obviously instead of bamboo, inside of it will be water and kelp. So like always, let's get straight to work. And there we go, the final 2 blocks. Nice. This was extremely easy to build. Let's see if there's any other green farms we can make now. Looking for some inspiration for some green items. And let's also look through the creative menu to see if there's anything that we missed. After some investigation, it seems like those are actually all the green farms that we can make. So it's time to move on to the next color of farms, which is light blue. This is going to be a pretty difficult color to find farms for. But like always, we're going to start with the wool farm and the dye farm. Oh, hello there. Here's the wool farm. Now for the dye farm. And light blue dye is another combo dye, meaning for us to get it, we have to combine 2 different colors of dyes. And that's blue dye and white dye. For the blue dye, I'm going to do the same thing that I did over for our purple dye farm. Then for our white dye, I'm going to make the exact same mini auto crop farm. And with all the stuff, oh, we just saw our glowberry farm work. We got 4 glowberries in this whole time. That's crazy. This is probably the worst farm on the entire grid. Anyways, what I was saying is we're going to take the products that we get from our mini auto crop farm, and we're going to put those into a composter to get bone meal and then white dye. And already this is looking so much better than our purple dye farm. It's way more compact too. All we have to do now is flick this switch, and out comes light blue dye. Perfect, there's our wool and dye farm. But there is one small problem though, and it's that these are the only 2 farms that I can think of for the light blue color. There really are not that many light blue items in Minecraft. And out of the very small number of items that actually are light blue, like packed ice, there's unfortunately no way that I can farm them on this square. So sadly for the light blue color, it's just gonna be a wool farm and a dye farm. Hopefully we can redeem ourselves with this next color. And that next color is gonna be magenta. Okay, magenta is up next. Another pretty difficult color to find farms for, to be honest. But like always, let's start with the wool farm and the dye farm. And here they are, our wool farm and our dye farm. For this dye farm, I did something a little bit different. Since this farm is actually a 2-in-1 farm, both sides of the farm have a dispenser behind them to bone meal the lilacs, and on the right side, these lilacs just go straight into a chest, but on the left side, they go into a crafter, and that turns them into magenta dye. Let me show you how it works. We have magenta dye on this side, and lilacs on this side. Amazing. Now here's what I'm thinking for the next magenta farm. Hear me out. I'm thinking we do crimson wood. While crimson wood is technically supposed to be red, if we put it next to red concrete and magenta concrete, which one does it look like it's closer to? To me, it looks like it's closer to magenta than red. So instead of putting it in the red square, we're gonna put our crimson wood farm in the magenta square. And it's totally not because I can't think of any other magenta thing to farm. Okay, that's also partially the reason. But this crimson wood farm is basically gonna be exactly the same as this warped wood farm, except just with different colors. Here's a time lapse of me building it. Okay, time lapse complete, and here's the farm. Like I said before, this is the only magenta farm that I could think of, so it's time we move on to the next color. And that next color is gonna be the black farms. Okay, there's still not too many items that we can farm for the black farms. However, this time the few items that we can will actually be useful, since the color black calls for black dye. It's a dye that's pretty difficult to get, but out of all 16 colors, it's the one that I use the most frequently. There's only 2 ways you can get black dye. The first one being with wither roses, and the second way being with ink sacs. Now, since it's next to impossible to build a wither rose farm in the overworld, we're gonna have to get our black dye from a squid farm. These normally require you to drain out a ton of water to prevent squid from spawning, but since we're in an ocean biome, that would be extremely difficult, and also very time consuming. So instead of doing that, I'm gonna place down a bunch of magma underneath the water, and that's gonna do the spawn proofing for us. Here it is. This is all the magma that we had to place. Honestly, kind of insane. But you might notice in the center here, this big pool of water. And this is where the actual squid farm itself is gonna go. The next step is to drain all the water in this center square. And for that, we're gonna need some sponges. I'm 99% sure that I have at least a few in here. Let's see. Okay, we have 26. That should probably do for now. Okay, that was actually pretty straightforward, and we have everything all drained out now. Let's start building up the rest of this farm now. Okay, the track is all done. Let's place down the hopper minecarts. And on top of this, we're going to place down a bunch of magma. This is what's going to kill the squid for us. And then the hopper minecart down below is going to collect up the items. Okay, we have all the magma placed down. Next up, we're going to place a bunch of fence gates down here and then open them. And then around them, we're going to place even more fence gates. And this is what's going to hold our water for us. And here's what it looks like all done. It is so hard to see with this black concrete and black glass. But inside of each one of these squares, we're going to place down some water. And if I go into free camp down here, this is what all these trapdoors are for. All these trapdoors are going to hold our water like this and prevent it from reaching the bottom. And this is basically how the squid farm is going to work. And there it is. Oh my gosh. This is so much work. This is definitely the most time-consuming farm we've done so far. But we only have one thing left to do, and that's the storage system up here. And there we have it. We have some hoppers for some ink sacs, and then stuff for cod and for bone meal. Because unfortunately, I think this farm also might kill dolphins too. But let's get everything all nice and sorted. And that should be the farm all done. Let's go test it out. Oh, I'm scared. Please work. Okay, I see squid. Yeah, it's working. Let's go down with free cam. Yeah, squid are spawning. Nice. Look at that. Oh my gosh, this is amazing. Let's wait up here and see if we can see the items coming up. Where the ink sacks at? Oh, here they come. Look at that. Nice. Oh yeah, look, dolphins are dying as I expected. Oops. But most importantly, we're getting squid. This is so cool. But that's our most important black farm all done. Up next, let's do the wool farm. That's just going to be our standard wool farm that we've done for everything else. Except it's almost 3 times as big as our normal farm. And that's because these are actually the only 2 items that we're going to be farming on this square. There really are not that many black items that can be easily farmed in Minecraft. So let's move on to our next color. And I'm actually going to pick this color myself. It's going to be gray, since I'm in desperate need of one particular gray item, and that's gunpowder. Since with gunpowder we can craft firework rockets, and these are all the firework rockets I have left. I'm very quickly running out. All this flying around and gathering up all the items for these farms is using so many rockets. So let's quickly build the dye farm and the gray wool farm, and we'll jump straight into making our gunpowder farm. This is going to be the biggest farm that we've built on the grid so far. I just finished building the collection system, so the next step is to build the drop chute. This farm is going to be a pretty familiar design in that it's going to use water to wash the creepers off the spawning platforms, and then they'll get dropped down this drop chute where we can collect their gunpowder. And there we have it. This farm is enormous. Oh my god. Hopefully this massive size is worth it. Let's go up to this little AFK platform we have up here and let's see if it works. Any creepers? Oh, yep, I see one. Let's see. Do they die when they hit the ground? They do. Okay, nice. Wow, that was a lot of creepers. With this farm done, it's time to move on to the next gray farm. Finally, a color that we can build more than just 2 farms for. For the next gray farm, let's do a basalt farm. This farm is going to be extremely easy to build, and I already have all the materials we'll need right here. It's just going to be some hoppers, some hopper minecarts, some lava, dispensers, blue ice, soul soil, and some concrete. Okay, that should be good. Let's see. The basalt is regenerating. Nice. An extremely easy basalt farm. Time to move on to the next gray item. And this one's going to be a mud farm. Mud is such a pain to gather in large amounts, so this is going to be a super useful farm. And this is going to be a very easy farm to build, so here's a small time lapse. Well, I forgot to record the time lapse, so here it is. Let's try this thing out. So we're supposed to have some stuff in our offhand. And wait a minute, hold on. This farm actually doesn't work with efficiency 5, so we have to go get a normal unenchanted shovel. Let's see, do I have a spare one in here? Oh, I do. They all have efficiency though, bruh. Okay, I guess we can just disenchant one. And there we go. Okay, let's see if it works. Is it working? Wait, what? Oh, there we go. Looks like it's working pretty good now. Actually, wait. It's not. What? Did I forget a hopper or something? Hold on, wait. We need to do some troubleshooting. Oh, dude, this farm is bugging. Oh my god. Wait, what? I am so confused. Okay, this should be it. Please. There we go. Okay. Now it's properly working. Oh my god. That took me so long to figure out. Now we have an extremely easy way to get large amounts of mud. Okay, with this farm done, that was actually our last gray farm. We have 2 extremely useful farms on this square. But next up, it's time to do the blue farms. Starting with the blue wool farm and the blue dye farm. This is basically the same thing that I've been doing for all the other combo farms, except this one is a little fancier. If I take some emeralds right here and go up to this villager, then he sells me some lapis. But I can just take this lapis and throw it straight straight towards him, and then it gets automatically crafted by this crafter, and it comes into this chest. That's my attempt at making this farm just a little bit less boring than a villager selling lapis. But we have our 2 base farms done. It's time for the next blue farm. And in all honesty, this is probably going to be the most pathetic farm we've done all video, since this farm is going to be a water farm. This is really the only other blue item I could think of to farm. So we're just going to make an infinite water source right in here, place some blue concrete down below, add a couple chests to store our items, item frames to label them, and this is our water farm. It's terrible. Definitely the most pathetic farm on this entire square. But with these 3 farms done, that's the blue square complete. So let's move on to the next color. And that next color is going to be the pink farms. This one should definitely be more interesting than our blue farm. Already, the first pink item that I'm thinking of is cherry wood. So let's first build up the wool farm and the dye farm, and we'll go straight to building the cherry wood farm. Here's the completed collection system, which will take all the items down into the center hopper line right here. And then that line of hoppers will run underwater into these chests right here. And funny enough, since I needed so much water for this storage system, I actually used the water farm. But now let's start building the actual farm itself, which is gonna go right up here. This right here will be our bone meal storage. Here in the center is where we'll grow our cherry trees. And then branching off each corner, there's gonna be 2 TNT dupers up above. And there's also gonna be some leaf crushers and log pushers on the sides as well. And here's the farm complete. Let's collect up some cherry saplings real quick. And we'll give this farm a proper test. Every time I build a farm with a TNT duper, I'm scared it's just gonna blow itself up. So let's see what happens with this one. Okay, that worked. How's the TNT? What? Is it working? I mean, the trees are growing. I don't know if I built this properly. What is going on? I figured it out. This dispenser just has to be completely full of bone meal for it to work. So we should be able to turn this back on now, and it should work. Let's see. Free can? Ah, yes. It's working. Nice. Our cherry wood farm is complete. Let's move on to the next color now. And that next color is gonna be the light gray farms. Light gray is going to be another fairly simple square. It's going to have our wool farm and our dye farm. And then really the only other farm that I can think of is a cobblestone farm. I've already gone ahead and collected up all the materials that we'll need, so let's just jump straight into it. First, we're going to start with the wool farm. And here it is. Up next, the dye farm. This one's going to be very similar to the ones we've done in the past, and it's just mainly going to be some hoppers and some crafters, all arranged in a very specific way. These little dye farms are actually very fun to build. This one really put my skills to the test, since it's not like all the other farms where it's just 2 items combined into one. This one is 3 items combined into one. Since to make light gray dye, we have to do 2 white dye and 1 black dye. So this one ended up being a little bit more complicated than I was expecting, but it looks pretty cool though. Here's a moment of truth. Let's see if it works. There we go. Okay, nice. But wow, look at that. We have so much dye already. Oh my gosh. Am I like secretly good at building farms? Probably not, but let's move on to this stone farm now. This one's gonna be a fully automatic design, which is gonna be super useful. Here's the collection system. Now for the farm itself. We're gonna have a shape down here like this at the bottom with some waterlogged slabs. And I guess this is actually also part of the collection system. But then up above it and around it, we're gonna have a very specific arrangement of waterlogged leaves surrounded by lava on the sides to make cobblestone. There we go. And now on top of this, we're gonna make a TNT duper. Okay. Moment of truth. I feel like I should put my chest plate on for this. All we have to do is flick this lever, click this button, and I think it's working? Oh my god. Nope, it's not working. It's not working. No, it's blowing itself up. Oh, great. Okay, could be worse. Let's fix this real quick. Okay. Oh my god, dude. Just hit my funny bone. My entire arm just went like... Okay, anyways, I'm pretty sure I figured out what was wrong with this thing. I was missing a single trap door in here. Yes, okay. Now it's properly working. There we go. This farm is so loud though, oh my god. But whoa, look at that. It's already producing so much cobblestone. Look, it's just flowing in. That's crazy. Wow, this is going to be actually a very fast farm. But that's going to be it for light gray. I think we only have 2 colors left, right? How's this looking from up here? Oh my gosh, this looks so cool. I haven't taken a proper look up here in quite a while. But yeah, we only have 2 squares left to go. The red square and the yellow square. Let's spin the wheel and see which one it's going to be. It looks like the next color that we're doing is the yellow square. Okay, the second to last square. Let's do the same thing we did for these other 14 squares, and we'll start with the wool farm and the dye farm. All right, here's those 2 very simple farms all done. Now it's time for some more yellow farms. The first thing that comes to mind is bamboo. We have a farm for basically every single wood type on this grid, except for bamboo wood. I mean, we do have a bamboo item farm in the green farms, but we don't have a bamboo wood farm. And after all, bamboo wood is very yellow. So let's just make a quick and easy bamboo farm. It's just gonna be a hopper line into a chest with mud on top, and with pistons and observers along the back to harvest it. And finally, some glass to encase everything. There we have it. Here's our bamboo wood farm. I don't really feel like building a massive redstone contraption to auto-craft this stuff, so instead I'm just gonna go like this and then like this. There we go. Bamboo plank farm. All right, now on top of bamboo wood, there's 4 more items that I can think of that are yellow and can be farmed, with the first 2 being wheat and potatoes. And farming those 2 is gonna be as simple as building a mini auto crop farm, just like we've done many times before. Here's the potato farm and the wheat farm. Let's do the next 2 items now, and both of those are gonna be from villagers. Let's craft up 2 boats. I guess we actually only need 1. We'll grab a lead. Okie dokie. Let's abduct 2 of these guys. Hello, friends. And I guess we first have to build them their enclosures, actually. And this is probably a good time to tell you the 2 yellow items as well. The first one's gonna be a bell, and the second one's gonna be golden carrots. So let's just quickly build these guys up a little enclosure. It's gonna be something very simple like this. We'll put 2 chests above to store our items, and item frames to label them. Okay, now to get these guys into there. And there we go. Okay, but let's grab some emeralds real quick, and we'll use those to level these guys up. Upgrade, please. There we go. Okay. He's selling bells. Nice. We'll put that right up here. Now to upgrade this guy. Oh wait, look, this is perfect. He's selling wheat and potatoes, and we have a wheat and potato farm on this square. That worked out really good, actually. And there we go. Okay, golden carrots. Nice. And that's gonna wrap it up for the yellow farms. Up next, since it's the last square left, it's time to do the red farms. Lucky for us, there's quite a few items that are red and can be farmed. So the red square is gonna be pretty packed with farms, and some very cool ones too. First, we just have to empty out my inventory and collect up all the materials that we'll need for it. Obviously, it's gonna be lots of stuff like red concrete, red stained glass, and red wool, and a whole bunch of other redstone items that we'll use to build our farms with. Like always, let's start with the wool farm and the dye farm. All right, here are our base farms. Now it's time to move on to some more interesting farms. I was thinking of doing a similar thing to the yellow farms and making 2 mini auto crop farms over here. Those will go right over here and basically mirror the yellow farms. Except for these 2 mini auto crop farms, it's gonna be sweet berries and beetroot. And there we have it, 2 more very simple farms. Let's do another simple farm next. And this is gonna be for an item that literally has red in the name. That's gonna be red mushrooms. I don't think I've ever needed large amounts of red mushrooms, so instead of spending a bunch of time building some crazy farm that I'll probably never use, I'm just gonna place a piece of puzzle right here. And to make it official, we'll place a chest next to it, and a red mushroom in an item frame, and a red mushroom right here. Nice. All right, now to move on to some slightly more interesting items, and the first one of those is gonna be nether wart. I'm pretty sure it's extremely difficult, if not impossible, to automatically farm netherwort, so we're going to be making a manual farm for this one. But don't worry, it's not going to be trash, it's still going to be a pretty good design. And here's how it's gonna look. Basically, I'll be able to come into this channel, crouch down, and harvest all of this. And also with Fortune 3, you get much more netherwort than normal. So that's another good reason to have it be manual. And then once I harvest all of it, down below, there's some hopper minecarts, and they just put them right here into this chest. Very, very simple. But the next farm that we're gonna build is not gonna be simple by any means. Since in our quest to farm every single wood type on this grid, the last wood type that we're farming today is mangrove wood. And mangrove trees are very weird since they grow in pretty strange ways, so this farm is going to be very complicated. That's basically what all the rest of these materials are for. But let's take it one step at a time, and we'll first get started with the collection system. After quite a bit of work, here's the collection system. And then all the way up here on this scaffolding is gonna go a TNT duper. It's gonna be pretty similar to this one over here, but instead of just 1 TNT duper, there's gonna be 6 of them. This is a very beefy farm. But let's not waste any more time. Let's get straight to building these things. Oh god, oh god. I hate scaffolding. I can't even use it. There we go. Okay. Okay. This is quite the mess of stuff up here. I really hope I built everything correctly, but there's only one way to find out, and that's by testing it. If I flick this trap door right here, then it should activate these things. Okay, there's 2 TNT. Now we should see 6 fall in total. There's 4, there's 6. Nice. Okay, so it works. Now we just have to go get some mangrove propagules and give this farm a proper test. Let's see here. Do I have propagules? I do. Okay, nice. Just had to steal them out of the auto sorter. Let's go test this thing out now. Okay, it worked. The mangrove tree grew. Yep, look at that. Let's see if it gets blown up. Yeah, nice. Amazing. This is a very complicated farm. But yeah, it's fully functional. Sweet. But with this red farm done, we just have a few left to go. And as you can see, we're already quickly running out of space on this square. You might have noticed I have some villagers over here. And I'm going to use these guys to make our next 2 farms. They're just going to be simple villagers selling item farms. And the items they're going to sell are going to be apples and redstone. 2 very important and red items. Okay, we have a guy selling redstone. Oh, he hates me because I killed his friends. And we have a guy selling apples. Perfect. Okay, well, anyways, we have just 3 more farms left to go. And those are all going to be animal farms. Since after all, raw mutton, raw pork chop, and raw beef, those are all red. So it only makes sense to farm these things in the red square. This might be the most cruel farm that we've done, but they are red items after all, so we have to do it. Okay, here are the 3 crushers. We're going to have cows right here, pigs right here, and sheep right here. Now we just have to get 2 cows, 2 pigs, and 2 sheep to bring into this farm. And lucky for us, that should be very easy. Let's go on the hunt. Okay, I found some pigs. 1 and 2. You know, I think I have a better idea. I should just put these guys into a boat and then lead the boat. We are in 1.21 after all. I keep forgetting that exists. All right, piggies. Wait, can 2 pigs go in one boat? There's no way, right? Wait, no, 2... Wait, hold on. What? I did not know that was possible. Interesting. You learn something every day, guys. Okay, but this is the real question. Can 2 sheep go on one boat? Oh my god, they can! What the hell? I did not know that. That's the second farm done. Oh god, why are they bouncing so much? Chill. Oh my god. What the heck? No, this is bad. How can I make them not bounce like that? Yo, what the... There we go. Okay, let's get some cows now. Look at, like, all the animals are up here. Ridiculous. They all pathfind to the highest point. That is so funny. Look at this. It's like a freaking zoo up here. There's 1 and... Oh, there's 2. Okay. Well, these guys are also bouncing like crazy too. Jeez. These guys are like partying. They're like, can we not do that, please? Come on. There we go. Okay. Now with these last 3 farms done, that is actually everything all complete. Every single farm for every single color in every single square is all done. Let's take a look and see how this looks from up here. Oh my gosh. This is so cool. Honestly, I think this is probably one of the builds that I'm the most proud of. This just looks so cool. All the farms being color matched to their theme and everything is amazing. This really does look so good. And it was also extremely fun to build as well. But that's going to be all from me today, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video as much as I did, and if you're still watching all the way at the end here, thank you so much. But I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye!